Hi YouTube. So today I finished my third marathon and I kind of figure I've got enough experience with them now that I formed some opinions about at least these three marathons. So I thought I'd start sharing them because one of the things that I really wanted when I first started doing the marathons is kind of choosing some guidance as to how to choose which marathon to go to. And so I want to start off a series of videos just of the different runs that I've been doing and kind of giving a little bit of a review just kind of so you get an idea of what I liked about them and what I didn't like about them. So the first one I'm going to start with is what turned out to be my first marathon, which was the Beat the Blerch East in Morristown, New Jersey. Now, the reason I chose this marathon was because of the oatmeal. Hopefully you know of it. It's a webcomic started by, or illustrated and written by a individual named Matthew Inman. And he's got a whole set of kind of series of comics about running, which I really enjoyed and really spoke to me. So I thought, hey, on the East Coast, there's going to be a Beat the Blerch one, which is kind of inspired by the oatmeal, and Matthew Inman actually ran it. So sounded like a good first one for me initially. And then eventually come closer to race day, found that it was a trail marathon, or mostly a trail marathon, which I kind of wasn't ready for. But if you won't watch anything else about what I'm going to say about this, just know that I did enjoy it. I thought it was an interesting marathon. But there are some things that you should be ready for. First, as I mentioned, it is a trail marathon. There are rocks, there are roots, there is lots of dirt. It's not fully a trail marathon. Probably you spend maybe 15% of it on actual paved roads. But be ready. I know that a lot of people fell, and you generally kind of want to avoid that if you're doing a marathon or even the half marathon in this case. So the other thing to note about this is that it's two loops. I didn't find that to be a big problem. Kind of the second time around, I was looking for things like, I don't remember this area. And just because, you get tired on the second loop, and especially for me, it being my first marathon, it really didn't matter. But if that kind of, if you really don't like the idea of doing two loops, 2 laps around the same area, then, maybe this is not for you. Oh, and the last thing I'm going to kind of mention about this is the fact that the course as it was, I think it was a little bit short. According to my GPS, it was like 24-ish miles, and I've seen other people posting kind of on Facebook that their GPSs also came up with it being short. Admittedly, you were kind of running through the woods, so it's possible that that interfered with the GPS, but I think given the number of posts I've seen about it being short, then it may not actually be a full marathon, at least the one I ran. It was the inaugural Beat the Blerch East, so maybe in the coming years they will extend it an extra couple miles to make it a full marathon. Some other things to consider when you run this. It's a hilly course. There is, I think, almost over 2,000 feet of elevation change throughout it. And so be ready for that. I walked a number of the hills just because I wasn't going for time in this one. I was really just going for not falling and being able to finish. So keep that in mind. On the positive side of things, there's cupcakes, there's Nutella sandwiches, there are Blerches and couches. And really, just how awesome is that? You also do get some purple-ish Powerade, Gatorade sports drinks at some stations, and traditional goo as well. That was a lot of fun to just kind of take a break with the Blerch, just sit around, take some pictures. If you're going for a very competitive run, going for a PR, this is not the race that you want to do it on. If you want to kind of be in the woods, meet some like-minded people who like the oatmeal, and generally have a good time, then I really do think this is a good run for you. And in the end, like I said before, I really did enjoy it. So kind of on a last little plug, if you don't know about the oatmeal, click on the link that I'm putting here to take a look at his stuff. Also, he's got a book about running, which I do own. Sadly, I didn't get a chance to meet Matthew Inman and have him sign it. But he was there and in a full running suit. Yeah, wish I had seen him, but timing was just wrong, I guess. Maybe if I do it again another year. Or there's also a Beat the Blerch West in Seattle, and I have no idea what that one's like, but generally I generally hear good things about it. So that's my experiences with Beat the Blerch East in Morristown, New Jersey.